Almost 20 to 11, back for session 3, and it will be our final session. So let's hope the Williams & Williams strategy can prove itself to be profitable. Pretty wacky morning actually, both these charts. Let's start with the Euro US dollar. You would have actually got the oversold signal right there, so you would have entered there, close at the formation of this bullish fractal. So at the top there, that is a very nice move. What a snap move there at 34 pips. In fact, they just had an oversold reading again. It's been coming down since that spike, now to even lower than it was before that spike came. And yeah, there's that oversold signal there. Yet to see how that's going to finish. Could see another green candle come and get a bit of profit out of it like that. Great British Pound, Japanese yen. That's a bit of a mess. This would have been one entry position here, and you would have got it there, so that's pretty bad. So that's 19 pips you're losing. You would have put another one in here, and that would have been 2 pips, and another one here that you're waiting for the end of, which you would have doubled down on right there. If it keeps going like that, well, you should win that money back. So pretty mixed at the moment on these charts, so don't know exactly how well we'd be doing financially, probably kind of close. It can often be decided on fine margins. If we got this entry here, but all of this came in the first 10 seconds, we'd probably miss all that. There's a lot of events on the economic calendar, but I'm going to skip over many of them by just saying that every major currency seems to have a manufacturing purchasing managers index coming out today. So we've already had Japan, Korea, China. All the results are on screen if you want to check them out. Otherwise, at 2:30 a.m., we had GDP quarterly from Australia, negative 1.9 against a 0.6% forecast. That's a miss for them. Keeps their yearly down at 3.9 against the forecast of 6.4. Retail sales from Germany at 9 o'clock, month on month. They'd forecast negative 6, wasn't that bad, at negative 0.3. Nationwide house price index month on month from the Great British Pound. How are they doing over there? 0.9% on the month on month against 0.7% forecast, and it puts the yearly at 10%. 10% increase on the average house price over the last year. Very good. CPI month on month from Switzerland, they are keeping it down at 0.0%, and the previous was 0.3, so not too bad there either. 315, finally a number with some gumption. The automatic data processing ADP and non-farm employment change. Monthly employment report that front runs the non-farm payroll from the Bureau of Labor Statistics this Friday, so that's got potential to move the dollar. And Fed Chair Powell's up again. Transitory inflation no longer a thing, so perhaps he'll be giving more details on what the Fed plans to do about that. So that's the big stuff from a lot of events today, and the biggest of the big, as we said, ADP non-farm employment change at 3:15, and the 5 o'clock testimony from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Nothing for us to worry about for a while, and now we're waiting for an overbought or oversold signal from the Williams percent range, and we're happy to jump on any of the continuations. So here, for example, Euro US dollar, even if a bullish fractal doesn't form and the Williams percent range goes back into the oversold territory, we'll jump in at that part, that is fine. Pound yen, that would have seen the close of the trade, so you gained about 14 pips back on that one, and another 4 or 5 there. So on the pound yen, you would be down, I would imagine, but not by too much now. That's getting you back. Sell signal comes through at the last second, I think. Let's check that. Yet negative 4.09, so we're in the overbought territory. You can see we measured it out from here up to there. We've called that 45 pips, and so we'll sell off the market for 0.14 standard lots. About to close down this trade on the pound Japanese yen. Going to be for a small loss by the look of it. Yeah, let's shut that down. That's $10.61 lost because it made this high right up here in price. This is what you can find with the fractals sometimes. Price will make a very big high quite away from your entry price. That's about a 13 pip difference there. And so that then means that there's around about 13 pips worth of space in this instance where you can still end up being a loser despite getting that bearish fractal and shutting it down. If we were an idealist, of course, as soon as we entered, that would be the high in price. The fractal would form above our entry candle and we'd immediately see it run down. The bigger the high, the more trouble you can end up in. If price ran all the way up to here and this was the high, suddenly then you've got about 30-35 pip region where you're going to end up in loss. Nothing major though, $10.61. We can certainly come back from that. Helped out by the fact this fractal here, price extended to such a low that it really was out there, this bullish fractal. Because we had such a cushion on the distance between there and where we entered, it did keep our volume very low, the lowest we've had for a Great British Pound Japanese yen trade. Both the currency pairs lurking around that overbought territory, but as we've seen, things can change very quickly on this oscillator. Could hold out for a sell signal now on the Euro US dollar, just a couple of seconds until that turns over. Price continuing to push. Don't know if this is going to be a trend or not. We do get the signal. Let's jump in. Quite a few lots this time, and that is because we saw this bullish fractal here form. So we measured it out to about 12 pips. That's there. It pushed a little bit after we measured it, but we have seen strong reversals like this happen in the very near past. So I think this one's got a chance. Again, we don't want to see this candle here or the next one or any of them go too high, not without getting a double down. If you get a double down off a high, then it's kind of fine because you're backed up with that new trade. But it's when it makes a high, it retreats off there, it goes out of the overbought territory, and you're left with this big gap here. You can't get any more trades to break it, so you can end up just taking a hefty loss on the one trade. 25 past 12 coming through, and we are about to get a pretty nice close on this Euro US dollar trade. There it is, so let's shut it down. And we also get a buy signal over here on the pound yen, and that's gone into oversold territory, 99.27. So let's jump into that one quick. That'll be 0.31 lots. We'll buy the market here. Hasn't come down dramatically, it's been steadily declining. So hopefully it's not ready for a drop. We have been able to mostly trust the pound yen to stay in a range. Hopefully that's going to continue here. Let's take a gander at that Euro US dollar trade though. There it is, $41.36. Really nice. Thought it might struggle when we saw the high come on this candle after we entered, but it retreated from there and got better and better with the next two candles. Close now for that pound Japanese yen trade. It does seem as though it's going to be a touch of profit for us. Yeah, let's shut it off. $8.47. Excellent. Puts us nearly $40 up for the day. Another winning trade to book. Getting another buy signal here on the pound yen. They do sneak up on you. They really do. Sneak attack from the pound yen. So let's get in here with 0.41. Buying the market. And running a better price than our last buy trade on there. So maybe we get the same again. A bit of a bounce back. That's what we're after. Small profits, big profits. We'll take it all. It's another close for another win here on the pound Japanese yen at 5 past 1. There it goes. $33.98. Happy with that. $73 up for the day. It's been quiet for just over the last hour, and now it's threatening two signals at the same time, both looking at buy trades. Any of them going to stick? And we do we get a signal? 94.5, so the signal doesn't come. No signals on either. Wow, that was close. Flip a coin on some of these trades. That came down to the wire. Might be getting a signal here on the Euro US dollar. Let's see if it holds. It does seem like it's going to, and it does, so we are in. That is 0.41 standard lots, and we'll buy it. It's already bounced up quite a bit. This is what happens when you're back testing stuff and you look at it and you go, well, the signal came there, so I would have got in there. Not always guaranteed, even when you only get in 8 seconds after the open of the candle. Either way though, it is nice to be in a trade. It's been almost 2 hours since our last one. Not used to that with these charts. This strategy does seem to get you in pretty quick usually. And it's just under 15 minutes until we get those ADP and non-farm jobs numbers. Well, that could bring some added volatility with it. New York Forex session getting into swing now. Yeah, going to be closing it already here, the Euro US dollar trade. So shut it down. Small loss again. Not too worried about small losses. No, not too bad for us. $7.38. And now suddenly a buy signal coming through on the Great British Pound, Japanese yen. Let's dive in on the nose this time. And that is a heck of a spread. That whole last candle destroyed by the spread. Why? Why was that so big? 3 pips, 4 pips? Not ideal. Should be a lot of liquidity in the market right now. This is peak trading time. So we can see the volatility increase over on the Euro US dollar as those ADP and non-farm payroll numbers come through. And the ADP and non-farm employment change is quite promising. 534,000 actual. Although I never understand with the forecast. It says here negative 366,000. You look on any news website, any source, anywhere, that is not the forecast. Those are not the estimates. And it's always with the jobs numbers for some reason on MetaTrader. It's always wildly incorrect. So if you look at this, you're like, wow, they beat the forecast by 800,000. No, it was forecast at around about 500,000. So they did beat the forecast, and it is a nice beat, but not like this is implying. At least they do get the actual correct. That's what we're most interested in. Sell signal potential here. Is that going to hold on the Euro US dollar? It does. Let's sell off the market. Those are fine margins there. You see the Williams percent range flickering in and out of the overbought territory. Tense stuff. Adds to the drama. Doubling down on the Euro US dollar. Here we go. Sell it off again. It's our first double down of the day actually. It had more on the last 2 sessions. Lacking in them today. Glad we get to see at least one. Maybe more to come. Still waiting for the resolution of our pound yen trade. Not going so good for us. About $20 down. Exiting the pound yen trade now. Could have been a lot worse. Stretched down to that low, but it could have been better. We do face a loss. $22.53. Now closing down at the euro US dollar. Get it shut. Bit of a minor loss, I think, overall. Yeah, $4.76. Again, not too worried about small losses like that. Doubling down certainly helped us out. We don't want too many small losses, though. I know I say I don't mind them, but if they keep coming, we do need small wins to try and sort of negate each other. Back in on the euro US dollar just about 10 minutes after, selling again. And you can see we got out of our last trade at quite a nice position, because as soon as we closed it, the next two candles, whoosh, rocket up, and now we're back in again. Maybe we've timed it right this time around. We get the bearish fractal we dreamed of, so we will shut down our euro US dollar trade now. And that's exactly what we were talking about, $5.32. Getting a small win does help brush off the small loss from before, and maybe we get in at a higher price with the euro US dollar again. It is hovering in that overbought territory, and we are getting the sell signal again. Just one period later, it has shot up, and this is a bit cuckoo, but let's get in. Higher volume as well because of this bullish fractal down here, tightening things up. Hopefully the run upwards is over by now. Thank goodness for these retracements. Otherwise this would be going really bad. Thought we were going to get a double down there on the euro US dollar. We don't, but we do get an oversold signal on the Great British Pound Japanese yen. Let's measure that out, 43 pips. So we can hop into a buy trade at 0.15 lots. Again, if you think you're going to get in right at the bottom, it doesn't always happen like that. We see the jump, and the signal came in the last 2 seconds of the candle. Feels very unreliable the way it comes down to just a couple ticks of price right at the very last second. Not good for trying to maintain good consistency. Now we're going to get the double down. It's been flickering in and out of the overbought territory. 1 second left. It is going to be there, so we can sell off once again at euro US dollar. Same risk. Seems like it's going to be a loss on the Great British Pound Japanese yen as we shut that down. It is a very small loss, but we want those very small wins. $4.12 lost. Could have gone a lot worse though. If we'd seen another candle run like that in either of these candles, don't think we'd be too happy about that. Especially if it pulled off the low and didn't give us a chance to double down. Well, we're out of it for now, but in a few minutes it looks like we could be back in. This is a lot of trading. And we do get the re-entry signal on the Great British Pound Japanese yen. You can see it there, 95.64. This market is crazy with our strategy right now. This is trade number 7 since 3 o'clock, 9 if you include the double downs. If they're winners, then obviously it's fine. But jumping in our trades every couple periods, it's a recipe for a lot of small losses, as we've been seeing. Maybe it's time for the turn. As we hit 5 o'clock, we are doubling down on the pound Japanese yen trade, just gone into oversold territory again. So let's buy the market once more. Meanwhile, we are shutting down our euro US dollar trade. Quite a bad loss in the end there. Yeah, really poor, just shy of $64 total. And it does put us $24 down for the day. Here we go, period after, closing off our pound yen trade for a small win. Pretty nice there. $10.50 to take home from it as a total. Puts us $13.73 down for the day. But that is our last trade, and we do finish the strategy as a whole in profit. That is correct. After 3 days of trading, we got 32 trades, and we are in profit by $1.54. Absolutely fantastic. If you lever that up times 1,000, times 10,000, well, maybe there's profits to be had. And this was a really wacky afternoon. We did close down a Great British Pound Japanese yen trade at 1:05. Didn't think we were going to get many signals when it was coming up to 3 o'clock. That was a quiet period, almost 2 hours without a trade. And between 3 o'clock and finishing now, 7 trades. Constantly relying on these retracements. And this last one, we got caught out and price keeps going up. Also looks like we might have got out on the Great British Pound Japanese yen in a good position as well. Pretty lucky to finish in profit, I think. Some of these trends could be a lot worse for you. We were lucky to get out on these retracements. We were lucky that this candle didn't go overbought. What was the Williams percentage range there? 93.33. If we'd have been there, that's a 20 pip drop straight off the bat. But fortune does favour the fortunate. And once again, $1.54 profit for us, 3 days. That's just over 50 cent a day average. Before we get another signal on the charts and want to jump into that, let's go look at all our trades over in the journal. What a day, what a strategy. The first day was definitely our nicest. You see a field of green here. 11 trades on day one. A lot more winners than losers. It was only towards the end we lost about $40 on that euro US dollar. And then when we stepped back on, the euro US dollar again on day 2, that put it against us then. That was getting much more close to the kind of trends that we fear with this strategy. And then we managed to get some small losses back before taking another hit on the euro US dollar. And then again, clawing some back as we went through to the end of the day. But that day 2, those 2 losing trends against us, they did reverse the gains that we got on day 1. put us only about $15 up thereabouts. So it wasn't looking good coming into day 3. And then we hit a few strong ones this morning. Suddenly it looked like guaranteed profitability for us. And then at 1:05, the quiet before the storm came. And when 3 o'clock hit, it was trades aplenty. 3 o'clock, 3:10, 25 past, you can see this carries onward. Mostly losses. You can see green, but all of this green was under $10. So no real big winners. And most of these losses were bigger than those gains. $52 there, $22. That pound yen trade right at the very end managed to save us. In fact, the trades were $4.94 up. We did have that error that put us $3.40 down, so meaning $1.54 overall. Got to count the error. 32 trades in 3 days. Just over 10 trades a day on 2 charts. And so we started on $5,668.65 and finished on $5,670.19. That is the journal. Let's just give our final thoughts on the strategy. We wanted the price to range with this strategy, and we did get some of those ranges. It was a bit of a mix, but I do think we had some good luck in not going up against a real trend that put the boots into us. Even on the half trends that came up against us, there was a couple where we were saved by getting out on minor retracements for a small loss. Those trades could have easily left us a lot worse off. The fact that the strategy is in profit is only really symbolic. I think on the whole, trading longer and longer with the strategy, you'd eventually end in a loss rather than profit because of a catastrophic trending loss going against you. And even though that would probably be the ultimate outcome, it is clear too that the strategy shouldn't take a nosedive. There are plenty of wins in there to be pleased with. But those entry signals, they do come along pretty regular. Both of our charts saw a handful of trades in every single session, so I would say it's a lock that you can jump onto any single currency pair, and it's more than likely that you will end up in a trade sooner rather than later. If you were trading all of the 28 major and minor currency pairs, maybe even throwing in a few of those exotics, that's a lot of signals on the 5-minute time frame, and so I would say at a minimum to add a filter to the strategy and probably lower your risk as well. The entries also seemingly come out of nowhere. You take your eye off the chart for a candle or two thinking that the indicator is laying low, and before you know it you suddenly find that a trade is due. Part of that is how the Williams percent range indicator extends a lot further if the closing price is the high or the low. So for example, the indicator can be overbought, price moves to a new high, then pulls back to the previous price, but this time it's not overbought because that price as a close is not near enough to the high. And that combination of the Williams percent range and the 5-minute time frame also leads to trade entries and exits often happening on a knife's edge. It is basically down to a coin flip in the final few seconds of the candle as to whether you are actually going to be taking action or not. We use the traditional 14-period input and much more extreme levels than typical for determining the overbought, oversold regions, but still with 5-minute candles it didn't make me feel that the signals came with a heavy conviction about the move, and sometimes those fine margins can make a big swing in the overall profit-loss ratio. That also means you've got to be committed to keeping your eyes glued on those price charts too. Can't go away and come back a day later or a week later. You got to be there every 5 minutes the signal could come. The strategy, it did finish technically in profit though, so if that does make you feel compelled to trade it, then that is your instinct. That's everything from the Williams & Williams strategy, brought to you by Larry and Bill. If you do want more information on either the indicators or the strategy, you can find some of that in the video description. And don't forget, unless otherwise specified, all of these strategies are traded with demo money. Why risk money on something we've never even traded before? I don't know, why am I going to trust it? Thank you for watching. This is Project Trade. I am the spiritual elder of the ancient charts, and there will be more.